This is the open wound method, why your story isn't hidden hard enough, and how to fix it. Ever felt like you were standing in the wreckage of your own life, wondering how the hell you even got there? That's exactly how your audience needs to feel when you tell a story. Not like they're listening, like they're inside it, living it with you. But most people tell stories like they're reading a damn instruction manual, which is too polished, too distant, too safe. And that's why nobody buys. Because people don't buy products, they buy transformation. And the only way to sell transformation is to make them feel pain before they crave the solution. Make them feel the pain before they crave the solution. So let me introduce you to the open wound method, the storytelling framework that makes your audience feel like you reached inside their chest, grabbed their heart, and thumped on it and didn't let go. The open wound storytelling framework. Break your story down into these 5 steps to create gut-punching, conversion-driven storytelling. Number 1, the gut punch moment, the raw, unfiltered wound. Start with a scene, not an explanation. Don't tell us what happened. Put us in the room. Focus on sensory details, what you saw, what you heard, what you smelled, felt in your bones. You got to make it ugly, painful, humiliating, or hopeless. The worse it is, the stronger the emotion. As an example, here's an example. I was sitting in my car outside a Walmart parking lot, staring at my bank app, watching my last $17 sit there like a joke. My hands were shaking, half from hunger, half from knowing that I was completely effed. I felt like the world had chewed me up, spit me out, and left me to rot in that gutter. Why does this work? Why does something like this work? Your audience has to feel this. That's why it works. Not the exact moment, but the emotion. They have to feel that in the pit of their stomach, the panic, the I don't know how I'm going to get out of this moment, and that's where the connection actually starts to begin. Number 2, the emotional undercurrent, what it felt like in your bones. You see, you're not just telling a story, you're making them feel it, like I said. It's not about bad things happened to me, it's about what those bad things made you believe about yourself. What dark thoughts ran through your head. The way you communicate this is through short, choppy sentences to mimic stress, confusion, or hopelessness. Here's an example, okay? I wasn't just broke. I was worthless, a failure, a fraud. I told myself, maybe this is it. Maybe I was never meant to win. And let me tell you, when you start believing that, it's game over. So why does this work? People don't just relate to situations. They relate to self-doubt, shame, fear, hopelessness. And if you don't let them into that emotional space, they won't connect, right? Here's number 3, the breaking point. The moment something had to change. Now, this is the turning point, right? This is the second where you hit rock bottom and had to make some sort of choice. You were up against a wall. You show the inner war, the part where you almost didn't fight back. Then introduce the first glimmer of a solution. As an example, here's an example. I was 2 seconds away from giving up, just accepting that I'd lost. But then something snapped. I don't know what it was, anger, survival, instinct, or just plain refusal to let life win. But in that moment, I made a decision. I wasn't staying here. I wasn't going to be this person anymore. I shared this story about when I was starting off as a course creator. I spent a year building my online course. And if you don't know my story, I was also at this time transitioning out of being a mortgage broker into a YouTube consultant. All the while I was losing, I wasn't making payments on my house and we were almost going into foreclosure. All the time there was this fear and dread of any phone call coming through could be the bank calling to say, this is the month we're gonna take back the house and you're going to be evicted. There were so many moments like that. But there were also so many moments where I wanted to give up creating courses. I became a course creator and I took a year to build this beautiful, massive course called YouTube Revealed. And once I launched it, no one was buying it and it was just crickets. I tried to sell it, and no one was coming through. And that pit in your stomach where you're putting so much energy and action into things that just aren't actually getting you a result. It felt hopeless and I felt nauseous. And I remember having a couple breakdown moments where I told my wife, I don't know if I can keep going with this. I don't know if I can do this job. Crying and sobbing and shaking. I remember late at night coming in after 2 a.m. of just being up trying to create this thing that I didn't know if anyone was ever going to buy. But I'll tell you, my wife was my like sort of beacon in the dark, because she was the one that said, you know, you have to, this time, this moment in time will pass. But if you keep on the path, if you keep on pushing, you keep on working, and you keep on learning, you'll see the result. And so I listened to that, and that was the one thing I needed to hear to be able to continue to push. And then 3 months later is when I made my first 5K month as a course creator. And then 12 months after that, I did $245,000 worth of course sales after that conversation with my wife. That was the thing I needed to push through. So if you share things like that, people really understand where you're coming from, right? This is your rise. This is the climb out, the revelation. Now, you show the battle, the struggle to get out, make it messy, right? Imperfect, hard earned. Show them what you learned about yourself and what changed in you forever, okay? Again, like, you just take what I've already shared, right? What, the example I already shared. Here's another example. Like, it wasn't a Hollywood comeback. I didn't wake up the next day with a 6-figure business. It was ugly. It was slow. I failed. I almost gave up again and again. Again, my hands were shaking. I'd be up at 2 a.m. I started smoking during this time because I was drinking and smoking because I was like so like defeated, I was just so depressed. But I had one thing that I never had before, and that was clarity. And I knew exactly what needed to change. And I started fighting for it with my life, and like my life depended on it. All right, so why does this work? Because nobody wants to hear that your life magically got better. They want to see the work, the doubt, the grit, because that's where they are right now. And if you can prove that you fought through it, they'll believe they can too. Number 5, the resolution, the transformation, and the message. Now show them who you became because of this. Tie it back to why they should care. Leave them with a powerful, action-driving punchline. Here's a good example. That moment in the Walmart parking lot, it wasn't just my lowest point, it was the beginning of everything. It forced me to become the person who would never, ever be in that situation again. And now, that's why I help people like you, because I know what it feels like to be stuck. And I know what it feels like to get out of it and how to get out of it. All right, now why does this work? Well, now they're invested. They felt your pain, your doubt, your rise. And that final punchline tells them this isn't just a story. This is a transformation that they can also have too. All right. Now, here's where we close the loop. The final call to action. End by putting them into the next step. Make them feel like this is their moment. Here's an example. So if you're sitting in your own version of that parking lot moment, feeling stuck, feeling lost, feeling like maybe this is just who you are, let me tell you something. It's not. You have a choice right now. The only question is, are you going to make it? Let's go. All right, so why does this work? It's not about you anymore. It's about them. You're passing the torch, making them the hero of their own story. Here's the final thought. This framework makes you unforgettable. If you want to sell more, connect deeper, become impossible to ignore, stop telling polished, surface-level stories. God, I'm so sick of it. Rip open the wound. Let them feel the rawness, the hurt, the doubt, because they've been there too. And if you can guide them through it, they'll never have to sell again. So get it done. Thanks, guys. Casey Zeman out.